All right, so here's the problem you've run into. You just graduated college, you just got your starting job, you're making pretty good money. You go out and try to buy a house because you plan on getting married, have kids, and you got a dog and need a yard. But the problem is you can't afford the house because the prices are high and they haven't come down despite the high interest rates, which don't want to come down either. That kind of leaves your hands tied and leaves you as a renter. Well, builders have seen this problem, and there might be a new starter home for those in their 20s, and it's called Build to Rent. We're going to kind of get into that right now and go over this article about Build to Rent. All right. Build to rent housing starts continue to increase. Build to rent is basically exactly what it sounds. It's build to rent. There's no question that the housing market is in gridlock with homeowners unable or unwilling to move due to low interest rate mortgages. They call that the golden handcuff. The need for new construction is one solution to the problem, which could alleviate the housing inventory crisis. At the same time, there is a shortage of inventory and home prices have jumped, even in the high interest rate environment. And they say that because that's unusual. Usually interest rates go up, housing goes down, but because of the low inventory right now, the housing prices haven't gone down, making houses, well, let's face it, we're reaching an affordability crisis. First-time buyers are now in their low to mid-30s when they purchase their first home. To reach home ownership, the first-time buyer has higher incomes and they are wealthier. So what happens to those who cannot reach home ownership today? Home builders have seen this data and seen a turn, an opportunity, and that opportunity is called build to rent. Build to rent is a concept of the new single-family home construction for the intent of renting. While there has been growth in new home sales and construction activity, multifamily home construction has also grown in recent years. However, an apartment may not be enough square footage for some renters. With this concept, the yard for your pet, the space for your home office, a room for a new baby, it becomes more accessible. Renting a single-family home in a new housing community may also come with the amenities not seen in the typical apartment, such as walking paths, pickleball courts, or even shared gardens, which is kind of a cool idea. I've thought about that for a long time. Calculating data from the U.S. Census Bureau survey of construction data shows that the one-year growth of built-to-rent for single-family home starts grew 90,000 units across country in 2023, up from 81,000 units in 2022. And you see on the graph there on the right-hand side, you can see the last 2 years, 81 and 90,000, and you can see the significant increase in the build-to-rent builds on the right side of that graph. So this really is something I think is coming. However, while the number of units rose, the share of all housing starts is significant to watch. The share of build-for-rent single-family homes grew from 5% in 2021 to 10% in 2023, thus doubling in 2 years. Both the share of homes and the number are the largest numbers collected since 1974 for this segment of the market. And again, you look at that, it's a pretty huge rise on the right side of the graph there where you see it at 10% in 2023. That's the share of homes being built to rent. And we build millions of homes a year. That's a significant amount of build to rent homes. All regions saw an annual increase in build to rent. When looking for data by region, there is a notable 2-year growth in the build-for-rent single-family homes in the Midwest, where there is now 13% of the market, up from 5% in 2021. The Northeast also saw a 2-year rise from 3 to 9%, and the increase in the South was smaller at 9%. The West has the smallest share of all of them, and that would be 8%. And you take a look at the graph, the blue is the highest, that's going to be your Midwest, followed by, looks like the Northeast and the South, and the 8%, the West Coast. Or the west coast of our country. So will the market for this type of construction continue to increase? Well, it's a good question. I think it probably will until the prices of homes go down. I believe it probably will. Perhaps if buying a home continues to be out of reach for young adults, they will need a bigger space if they have growing families, or even just a yard for the dog to play in. Build to rent may be the solution, if only temporary. It probably is a solution. We'll get down here. The author of this was JKnold, Deputy Chief Economics and Vice President of Research with the National Association of Realtor. National Association of Realtors is a fantastic place. It's kind of where we all go to get our information, and these guys really know what they're talking about, and as far as like keeping an eye on trends and that sort of thing. So it's really interesting if build to rent, if that's a thing. And as an investor myself, I might actually start looking into build to rent. I think that it would be nice to have some more affordable homes, because after a while you can sell those homes and they're not in the $500,000, $350,000 range, which is so unaffordable at these rates. This might be a really good market to kind of look into. If you like this type of content, if you think this works for you, look up build to rent. Maybe you'll find your next your starter home for you and your family. And if you like this type of content, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and drop a comment. Please, please, please drop me a comment and tell me what you want to know more about, and I'll get right on getting the information online for you. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I sure appreciate you hanging out. This is my name is JKnold, a realtor with Reece Nichols out of Lee Summit, and until next week, we'll bring something new. I'm out.